What's up guys, and welcome back to another video that I better edit and publish super quickly because Bitcoin is on another one of its holiday themed tears, rising above $27,000 last night, meaning that just in the course of filming this video, my Coinbase account and my Binance account will probably fluctuate by several $100s. Now, more on how to sign up to those two amazing platforms in the description below, which we'll cover in just a moment. I figured I'd start this video out though just by totally upsetting everyone, by basically telling you that you are wrong. But don't worry, it'll get better. So if you listened to Warren Buffett and thought that Bitcoin was going to go to zero and was a worthless entity, then you were wrong. And if you listened to major banks and said that Bitcoin would never become anything worthwhile, then you were wrong. And if you looked at Bitcoin, say 9 months ago, maybe that's not fair because 9 months ago things were looking pretty bad for everyone. If you looked at Bitcoin even just 2 months ago and said, no, I don't want to buy that because it's too expensive and it's going to go down, then you were also wrong. But the reason it gets better is because that's like pretty much what everyone was saying. And in fact, there are 3 reasons why almost everyone refuses to buy into Bitcoin, which are going to be really important today in our video, which is going to cover when's the best time to buy Bitcoin and is it a smart time to buy Bitcoin right now. And I hope that this video gives you the strategies to actually get in on Bitcoin, get your feet wet a little bit so that a month or 2 months from now when your friend tells you, oh, Bitcoin is so high, you can say, yeah, I know. I've been buying it steadily already at this really low price. Those 3 reasons why almost everyone who doesn't really follow Bitcoin or just hears about it, or even people that do read about Bitcoin don't end up buying Bitcoin are the following. Number 1, its monetary value is just astronomically large. And any purchase that size of something over $20,000, for example, would require a ton of research and a ton of just thinking about it and asking others whether it's a good idea. And most of us just don't buy things like that more than once or twice in our life at that cost. Now, the second reason why a lot of people, including you maybe, haven't bought Bitcoin yet is because of something called time-sensitive delay. Now, that means that when you look at Bitcoin in this moment right now, it's too expensive and you say, oh man, myself in the past should have bought it at that other price, which was lower. Now, however, if you were that person in the past, you might say the same thing, which is, oh, I want to buy it, but it's so much more expensive than it was a month ago. And with that kind of mentality, it leads you to total inaction. Instead, how you should look at this problem is by understanding that yourself in the past didn't buy Bitcoin, but yourself in the future wishes you had bought Bitcoin because it's worth more money and because I'm assuming that you're a logical, profit maximizing person who wants to accumulate money and wealth and do good things with it over time. Understanding that, you would know that your past self should have bought it, your future self wanted to have it, and therefore right now, the best you can do is buy it so that your future self will get in on some of that action. And guys, the third reason why almost none of us bought Bitcoin yet is because we're just afraid it's going to crash again. In the past, when it was this high, it only took about a few days for it to crash and for losses to accumulate, at which point you're underwater, you're stuck, and you don't know if you should buy more Bitcoin or just pull out and accept your losses. And neither of those are situations I ever want you to be in. Now that we've covered those 3 reasons why people generally don't buy Bitcoin, even if it is a good idea in the future, that's a good segue to transition into how we know if we should buy Bitcoin now. And there really is one ultimate question that you should ask yourself. And that question, my friends, is this time different than last time? Meaning, is this rise of Bitcoin different than the past rise to about 20,000, where it became increasingly likely that Bitcoin would crash and overall ended up trapping a lot of people in what's known as a classic bull trap, where people get bullish about something, everyone's talking about it, your hairdresser tells you to do it, your soccer coach tells you to buy it, then all of a sudden all the bullish people get trapped at the top when it slams shut and goes down. So if you think this time Bitcoin is different because maybe institutional investors are getting behind Bitcoin, people are taking it more seriously, it's being accepted by payment processors like PayPal, which has been one of the world's leading, most trusted payment processors for years and years, then it's a good time to look at Bitcoin as something you want to own. And that's actually the belief I hold right now, that this time is different than last time. If, however, you think this is just like last time and Bitcoin's going to crash any minute, then you probably should stay on the sidelines and maybe even find a way to short Bitcoin. That's not something I would recommend. However, just Google it, but I do not condone that or recommend shorting Bitcoin because it could be way more risky than actually buying Bitcoin. But if that's you, then you probably don't have any reason to watch this video, so you can just carry on with whatever you're doing today. Like I said though, I think this time is different in Bitcoin. I think that institutional investors have Bitcoin's back per se. I think that a lot of my favorite trusted YouTubers are into Bitcoin. And I know that Jim Cramer even, he's actually buying into it. I think he bought at 17,000 and again at 23,000. So, you know, he's behind it. He's buying at high prices. Why shouldn't we if he has the confidence and he has a lot of people pressuring him to make money with their money? So you know he usually does it right. So given we think this time is different with Bitcoin, how do we look at a Bitcoin price like $20,000 or $27,000 and understand when's the best time to buy Bitcoin, or is it smart to buy right now? Well, I'd like to first have you look at that $27,000 right now. Of course, it might be a little different when you're watching the video. I'd like to have you look at it as a different number. In fact, why don't we just chop off 3 zeros? Now, if you saw a stock that was at about 27 or 30 or $40 and you thought it might go up to, let's say, $60, would you buy it right now? I'm assuming yeah, assuming you are that smart profit maximizing person. For example, when DraftKings stock was at $42, I jumped right in and bought, and so far it's done decently. And I'm hoping it goes up to, of course, somewhere around 100. That'd be fantastic. Now, looking at Bitcoin as a stock that's valued at $27 instead of $27,000 is going to make you a lot more likely to open up your debit card and throw it onto one of these platforms and buy a little bit. And the nice thing is you obviously don't have to buy one whole Bitcoin. Just like you don't have to buy one whole stock anymore, you can do fractional shares. And just like with Bitcoin, you can just throw in $100 or $200 and see what happens to your investment. For example, today on my Coinbase home screen, Bitcoin was up somewhere around 10%. And it really doesn't matter what the cost of Bitcoin is, whether it costs $1,000 or $27,000. If it's going to be up 10%, when you put in $100 or $200, you're going to make 10% on that money, which is pretty darn good. So I encourage you to look at Bitcoin as a stock that's valued as just $27 instead of with those extra zeros on the end. Go ahead and buy in if you think it's going to go up to a larger number like 28 or 29 or 30. Of course, if you have the cash lying around to buy a whole Bitcoin or several, then that could also be a really profitable idea. But I just want to give you the tools to get in with a little bit, like $100, which by the way, you can deposit into Webull and get up to 4 free stocks, 2 of which will be valued up to $1,600 if you use the link below. So if you deposit $100 into Webull, you get those free stocks, and it's a perfect amount to try out Bitcoin with. Now, my second strategy to help you guys know when's the best time to buy Bitcoin is just to look for drops or dips. We all know that Bitcoin fluctuates a lot, and it will go up and down even if it's on one of those upward straight lines and you think it's never going to go down. It will, and it's probably smart to wait for a little bit of a dip, such as right now when it dipped from 28,000 to 27,000 in order to buy it. In fact, I actually sold Bitcoin when it dropped from about 24,000 to 22,000 and totally regret it. I took my $1,400 profit or so and was happy with that, but then Bitcoin went back up, so I lost potential future returns. So if I've convinced you at this point to buy Bitcoin and you just want to perfect it, then go ahead and wait. Check out your Coinbase app or just Google the price of Bitcoin and look at when it drops, and then you can make your move and pounce with $100 on Webull or wherever you want to buy Bitcoin. And for the record, so far I bought Bitcoin on Coinbase, Binance, and Webull. Those 3 places have been very secure for me. Okay, so now the third strategy, guys, to know when's the best time to buy Bitcoin is basically just to assume that you can't know the best time to buy Bitcoin and you should let a computer do it for you. Lo and behold, this is the smartest way to do it for over 80% of investors, and I'll show you on the screen right now. That's because Coinbase looked at how Bitcoin investors have bought it over time, and they found that instead of timing the market where you do what I just said and watch the numbers, people who just set up a weekly purchase so they don't forget have outperformed, meaning made more profits than those other timing guys over 80% of the time. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw this option to buy weekly installments of Bitcoin on Coinbase, I thought, hey, that sounds a little weird. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to crash someday, and are they just trying to get little fees out of me every week so they guarantee business? Well, I just entered myself into the camp of people who were wrong, because if I had started doing this weekly purchase back in March, I would have made That's a lot of math. Anyways, maybe I'll calculate that number I would have made for you at some point in the future. By the way, I'm putting in $250 a week now. So I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 weeks now, and it's gone great because Bitcoin went up a ton. So maybe I'll put that together in some nice little graph for you at some point and show you how much I would have made and then how much we did make joining and starting when we finally got the nerve to. But that's my third strategy, guys. You just download Coinbase on your iPhone or Android or whatever phone you got and link your bank account. That part's important. You do need a bank account or a PayPal. I don't think they accept credit cards yet, but debit card or PayPal will do, and most of you guys have that, as I've heard from talking to you. And then set up that weekly deposit. Weeks will go by fast, I'm telling you, and pretty soon you'll have some compounded returns from Bitcoin, which you can tell your friend about when they tell you Bitcoin's at $40,000 in 2 weeks. Okay, so far our strategies to buy Bitcoin today are to look at the value of Bitcoin as just $27 of a cost, because you can buy any little chunk of Bitcoin and just get in, assuming it's like a $27 stock. Also, you could wait for a dip, or you could use this third process I just mentioned, where you basically average into Bitcoin each week. And the cool thing is Coinbase is gonna buy a little bit more for you when it's low and a little less for you when it's high. So you get a little bit of an edge there. And the fourth and final lesson I have on how you should know when is the best time to buy Bitcoin and is it smart to buy Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin, aka BTC, is going up a lot, as you've seen. So this fourth strategy is just to understand that we always wait to do things that are important in our lives, whether it's to go to law school or to start a business or just to make a cookbook for your mom or something. We often don't do these things as soon as we should. It's sort of like starting a blog. A lot of people will say they should have started a blog sooner, so they could have put ads up sooner, made money from Google AdSense sooner, started referral marketing sooner, had 1,000 subscribers sooner, and doing that, they would have leveraged the hyperbolic growth over time and started sooner. So if you can look at yourself and say, hey, bub, I should have done a lot of these other things sooner, maybe Bitcoin is one of those things, then it'll help you to go ahead and get in, especially if it's on a dip, especially if you can look at the price in the right way, and especially if you can throw in $100 to Webull using the link below and get some free stock too. If those things line up for you, or just a couple things even, then you'll know now is the right time to buy Bitcoin. Alright folks, that's a wrap on how to know when is the best time to buy Bitcoin, and is it a smart time to buy Bitcoin right now. The last thing I'll say is that you might be mesmerized by these other cryptocurrency assets, for example like Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, so on and so forth. I want you to know that while they look like they go up, if you extend to a week or a month or a year on some of these charts, you'll notice significant declines. While it's possible to make money with other crypto assets, generally they have less support than Bitcoin and will be more susceptible to flash drops or flash increases in price. So they're just a little bit harder to predict. And if you do buy something like Ripple, I want to warn you that 6 months from now, you'll probably just wish you bought Bitcoin because it's so stable and growing so fast, even if it's more expensive. Remember, you can put whatever dollar amount you were going to put into a smaller crypto asset into Bitcoin just in the same way. You just get a little bit less Bitcoin for it compared to that other small crypto asset. If you must buy something other than Bitcoin, I like Litecoin and Ethereum. Those have been doing well for me. But again, I would probably start out buying Bitcoin just for the sake of your future self. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching this video on how to know when is the best time to buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin buying strategies. Please make sure to check out the description for all the useful information we talked about here. You can start a blog by just typing into your YouTube search, Greg Narayan, create a blog. That's a great way to get in on this action and make some money online as well. If you learn anything here, please make sure to tap on that subscribe button. You can do it with whatever finger you like. I usually like my pinky finger. Works for me for some reason. And of course, subscribe to join our awesome and free and friendly and furry YouTube community where we talk about blogging and now stocks and Bitcoin too. I'd love to have you. All right, so let me know how it goes. Let me know what stocks you get when you sign up to Webull. If you lose money, don't come after me. I'm just some nice guy in a log cabin here. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Greg Narayan. See you next time.